What is the difference between a policy and a law?
Hello everyone, and welcome to today's video. Today, we will be exploring the difference between a policy and a law. These terms are often used interchangeably, but they actually have distinct meanings and implications. So, let's dive right in and shed some light on this topic.
What is a policy?
A policy is a set of guidelines or principles that guide decision-making and action within a particular organization, institution, or government. Policies are typically created to address specific issues, outline procedures, or establish standards. They serve as a framework for individuals or groups to follow and ensure consistency and fairness in various contexts. Policies can be created by various entities such as governmental bodies, companies, educational institutions, or nonprofit organizations. They are often derived from laws, regulations, or ethical considerations. Policies are not legally binding, but they provide a basis for making decisions and can have significant consequences within the context they are applied.
What is a law?
A law, on the other hand, is a rule or regulation that is formally enacted and enforced by a governing authority, such as a legislative body or judiciary. Laws are binding and enforceable on all individuals within the jurisdiction to which they apply. They are created to maintain social order, protect rights, and define acceptable behavior in a society. Laws are backed by the power of the state, and violating them can result in legal consequences, such as fines, imprisonment, or other penalties. They are usually created through a well-defined legislative process and can only be modified or repealed through a similar process. Laws cover a broad range of areas, including criminal justice, civil rights, taxation, property rights, and many more.
Key differences between policies and laws.
Now that we understand the basic definitions, let's highlight some key differences between policies and laws. Scope of application. Policies are generally specific to an organization, institution, or government, and their application is limited to the context in which they are created. In contrast, laws have a broader scope of application, as they are intended to regulate behavior and maintain order within a society as a whole. Legal binding. Policies are not legally binding, which means that non-compliance may have consequences within the organization or institution, but it does not carry the force of law. In contrast, laws are legally binding, and non-compliance can lead to legal sanctions or penalties imposed by the state. Enforcement. Policies are typically enforced through internal mechanisms within an organization or institution. Violations may result in disciplinary actions or other internal consequences. On the other hand, laws are enforced by the government and its authorized agencies, such as the police and the courts. Process of creation and modification. Policies are usually created by the organization or institution itself, often through a process involving stakeholders, experts, and decision-makers. They can be modified or updated as needed, depending on the internal procedures. In contrast, laws are created through a formal legislative process, involving elected representatives and often requiring public debate and approval. Modifying or repealing laws typically requires a similar legislative process. To wrap things up, it's important to understand the distinction between policies and laws. Policies are guidelines or principles that help govern decision-making within a specific context, but they are not legally binding. Laws, on the other hand, are enforceable rules created by the government and carry legal consequences if violated. Remember, policies and laws play different roles in society and organizations. Being aware of these differences can help us navigate the complexities of governance and ensure that we comply with applicable regulations. Thank you for watching, and I hope this video has clarified.